know that if a person commits a crime, it is likely they have a reason for doing so. They must have thought about it beforehand. However, choosing not to commit the crime is also an option, which they often fail to consider. As a result of not considering this, their life becomes very painful after the crime. They wonder why they even committed the act. The very thing they committed the crime for becomes unattainable, and even their peace of mind is lost. Now, they must deal with court trials and possibly jail time. Hello friends, how are you all? Today, we will talk about the Shah family case. This story begins in Mumbai, Maharashtra, specifically in Santacruz. On Dadatriya Road in Santacruz West, there is an apartment building called Ganesh Kripa Cooperative Housing Society. A family lived here, the Shah family. The household consisted of Kamalkant Shah, his wife Kajal alias Kavita Shah, their 2 children, a 20-year-old daughter and a 17-year-old son, and Kamalkant's mother, Sarla Devi. Kamalkant Shah owned a clothing company and was in the garment business. His business was doing well, and everything in the household seemed fine. Kamalkant also had 3 sisters, one of whom was married, but there isn't much information about the others. The timeline shifts to August 2022, when Kamalkant's mother, Sarla Devi, suddenly passed away. Though suddenly might not be the right word, as she had been unwell for about 10 days. On August 3rd, her condition worsened, prompting the family to consult their family doctor. When her condition didn't improve, she was admitted to Kamalkant Hospital in Mumbai. By August 13th, she passed away. Her death report mentioned severe influenza, pneumonia, left ventricular dysfunction, and hypothyroidism. The doctors broadly attributed her death to multi-organ failure. The family didn't suspect much, thinking it was due to her age and deteriorating health. They performed her last rites. After Sarla Devi's death, Kamalkant Shah's health began to deteriorate gradually. Initially, he experienced stomach pain, which he dismissed as a normal issue, perhaps due to eating something unhealthy. He tried home remedies, but the pain worsened. Kamalkant then visited the family doctor, who prescribed medication. His condition had started worsening from August 24th, 2022. Despite taking medicines for 2 to 3 days, there was no improvement. He began experiencing joint pain along with the stomach ache, and his hair started falling out rapidly. By August 28th, the family doctor suggested Kamalkant undergo a full-body test at a hospital to rule out any serious illness. On the same day, Kamalkant visited Criticare Hospital in Antari, where he was admitted. During this time, relatives who had come over for Sarla Devi's funeral were actively helping Kamalkant with his medical checkups. The sudden deterioration in his health following his mother's death left the family deeply worried. Kamalkant's father had passed away years ago, after which Kamalkant had shouldered all the family responsibilities, including his sister's marriage. After Sarla Devi's death, Kamalkant had become both a parent and a sibling to his sisters. At Criticare Hospital, extensive tests were conducted, but the medical reports did not reveal any illness. The doctors could not identify the root cause of Kamalkant's deteriorating health. By September 3rd, Kamalkant was admitted to Bombay Hospital for further investigation. Even here, despite several tests, nothing conclusive emerged. However, Kamalkant's condition improved with treatment at this hospital, and he was eventually discharged. The family sighed with relief, believing everything was returning to normal. For a few days, Kamalkant appeared to be recovering at home, but his health took a severe turn again. The family rushed him back to Bombay Hospital, where the doctors began suspecting something unusual. Kamalkant's hair and beard were not growing, which seemed odd. When asked, Kamalkant denied trimming his hair or shaving. The doctors noticed this was happening since the onset of his symptoms. After nearly 2 weeks of illness, the doctors conducted a heavy metal toxicity test. By September 13th, the test results shocked the medical team. Kamalkant's body contained extremely high levels of arsenic and thallium metals naturally present in the body, but in minimal quantities. Kamalkant had arsenic levels of 4,257 units normal range, 0.41.19, and thallium levels of 362.34 units normal range, 0.631.5. These levels were several hundred times higher than normal. Upon discovering this, the doctors informed the police. Officers from Azad Maidan police station visited the hospital. The doctors explained that these metals could not occur naturally in such high quantities and were likely introduced into Kamalkant's body intentionally. Arsenic and thallium poisoning caused symptoms like severe stomach pain, joint pain, and hair loss, all of which Kamalkant was experiencing. Both metals are lethal and act as slow poisons. Despite receiving medical attention, Kamalkant's condition worsened, and he passed away on September 18th. The doctors informed the police again. A case was registered at Azad Maidan Police Station, and a postmortem was conducted. The report confirmed that high levels of arsenic and thallium had caused organ failure, leading to Kamalkant's death. This case was transferred to the Santacruz police station, and the police began to take it seriously. The heavy metal compounds found in Kamalkant's body were not easily available to the general public. These compounds are banned for common use and are only traded between companies with proper permissions and legal documents. This raised the question of how someone obtained these substances and used them for murder. Doctors and the police suggested Kamalkant's family members undergo heavy metal tests, suspecting someone might be targeting the family. The police started questioning the family members at their home. During this investigation, they learned something shocking from Kamalkant's sisters. They revealed that their mother, Sarla Devi, had passed away last month, on August 13th, under similar circumstances. She too had experienced symptoms like severe abdominal pain, joint pain, confusion, and vomiting. Her health deteriorated within 10 days, leading to her death. This similarity in symptoms led the police to suspect that she too might have been poisoned with heavy metals. These compounds are tasteless and odorless, making them undetectable when mixed with water. The symptoms observed in Sarla Devi mirrored those in Kamalkant, suggesting that she too was deliberately poisoned. This complex case was then transferred from the Santacruz Police to Crime Branch Unit 9 for further investigation. The crime branch collected all medical reports, family statements, and other details and began their inquiry. They first examined Kamalkant's family history and background to identify potential clues. They discovered that Kamalkant's father had died when he was just 10 years old, leaving Kamalkant to take responsibility for his younger sisters. He worked hard to educate them while continuing his own studies, eventually becoming a successful textile businessman in Mumbai. In 2002, Kamalkant married Kajal, also known as Kavita Shah. Kajal's father was a prominent industrialist from Surat, Gujarat. Both families were wealthy. Kamalkant and Kajal had 2 children, a daughter, who was 20 years old at the time of the incident, and a son, 17, who was reportedly studying in a boarding school. The police learned that Kamalkant had been distressed about his relationship with his wife for the past 2 years. Their relationship had deteriorated significantly, and Kajal reportedly had frequent conflicts with Kamalkant and his mother, Sarla Devi. In May 2021, Kajal left their home in anger and moved to her parents' house with her daughter. She stayed there for 4 to 5 months before returning to Mumbai. However, instead of moving back to her husband's home, she rented a flat in Vilparl and lived there with her daughter. In October 2021, Kajal visited Kamalkant's house, took all her jewelry and valuable belongings, and returned to her rented flat. Both families tried to mediate and convince Kajal to reconcile with her husband. Kamalkant also wished for a reunion, hoping to mend their relationship for their children's sake. After several months of persuasion, Kajal agreed to return home in May 2022. However, she set several conditions for her return. She insisted on maintaining distance from Kamalkant, demanded freedom to live as she pleased, and refused to allow any interference from family members. This contentious relationship added another layer of complexity to the case, raising questions about potential motives and involvement. She wouldn't question anything and demanded rupee 1 lakh from her husband every month. All her conditions were accepted. She returned home in June 2022 and lived freely, cooking only for herself and her daughter, having no interaction with other family members. Meanwhile, she often quarreled with her mother-in-law, Sarla Devi. After some time, her behavior suddenly changed. She started treating her husband affectionately, speaking respectfully, cooking for everyone, and even serving the food herself. There was a housemaid responsible for delivering a glass of warm milk and water to Sarla Devi. Kajal took over this responsibility as well. According to Kamalkant's sisters, the health of their mother and brother started deteriorating after Kajal took charge of everything. Sarla Devi was admitted to the hospital on August 3rd and passed away on August 13th. Then Kamalkant fell ill on August 24th and died on September 18th. Evidence of murder was found during Kamalkant's death investigation, revealing he was poisoned. This raised suspicion among the sisters towards their sister-in-law, Kajal. Upon hearing this, the police began investigating Kajal's life history, her friends, and her phone call records. When the police and doctors asked the family members to undergo blood tests, Kajal initially refused but agreed after 10 days. Tests revealed traces of heavy metals in her system, indicating slow poisoning, though in small amounts. One number repeatedly appeared in Kajal's call records and was also found in Kamalkant's phone, saved under the name Hitesh Jain. When questioned, the family revealed that Hitesh was Kamalkant's childhood friend. They grew up together and attended the same school and college. Hitesh often visited their home. However, Kajal's frequent calls with Hitesh raised suspicion. The police detained Kajal on December 1st, but Hitesh went into hiding. During interrogation, Kajal admitted that she was in love with Hitesh. Their relationship began years ago when Kajal would confide in Hitesh during arguments with her husband. Over time, their friendship turned into a romantic affair. Kamalkant discovered their affair about 2 years ago when he caught them in an inappropriate situation. This led to more conflicts between the couple. Kajal could have sought a divorce, but doing so would leave her financially insecure, losing the rupee 1 lakh monthly allowance and access to Kamalkant's property and insurance worth crores. Kajal and Hitesh allegedly planned to murder Kamalkant and Sarla Devi to inherit the wealth. Hitesh researched slow poisons like arsenic and thallium online, ordering them through a fake company. Kajal returned to her marital home to execute their plan, poisoning her mother-in-law and husband over time. Kajal initially refused to undergo a blood test, but eventually did after consuming a small amount of poison herself to avoid suspicion. The police found evidence linking Hitesh to the purchase of poisons and the couple's communications. CCTV footage from hotels showed their meetings, strengthening the case. Despite the circumstantial evidence and witness statements, the lack of direct proof led the court to grant Kajal bail on September 18, 2024. Hitesh remains in jail. The police continue to investigate Sarla Devi's death, but no definitive proof of murder has been found. Kamalkant's death was confirmed to be caused by arsenic and thallium, leading to speculation that Sarla Devi may have died similarly. Such cases, where a wealthy husband is murdered by a scheming wife and her lover for property, are not uncommon. Yet, these plots rarely result in the happiness they seek.